Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something that shapes your job, your savings, pretty much everything. We're talking about the economic roller coaster known as the business cycle.
So let's just jump right in with the big question, right? You hear it in the news all the time. Growth, recession, booms, busts. Why? Why does the economy have these good times and bad times? Why can't things just stay good forever?
Well, the simple truth is, economies just don't move in a straight line. It's much more like a roller coaster. You've got those thrilling highs followed by some pretty stomach-churning drops. It's just the natural rhythm of how things work.
And that rhythm, that natural fluctuation, that's what economists call the business cycle. It's this repeating pattern of expansion and contraction that we can actually see and track in big numbers like GDP, employment rates, the pulse of the economy.
Okay, so to really get a handle on this, I find it helps to think of the economy as having 4 distinct seasons. Each one has its own vibe, its own kind of economic weather, if you will.
So the cycle flows from expansion, think of this as economic spring, to a peak, which is like the height of summer. Then things cool off into a contraction, or autumn, and finally hit rock bottom at the trough, our economic winter, before the whole thing starts all over again.
All right, let's talk about that expansion phase. The good times. This is spring. Jobs are easier to find, people are making more money, and there's this general feeling of confidence. So we're all out there spending. And all that spending, well, it just fuels more growth. It's a great feeling.
Then you hit the peak. This is the height of summer, and the economy is just buzzing. But here's the catch. Things can get a little too hot. Demand is so high that businesses can't keep up, resources get scarce, and prices start to climb. That's inflation kicking in, and it makes people start to pull back.
And after that peak, just like summer turns to fall, we get a contraction. This is the economic autumn. Businesses get a little pessimistic, so they stop investing. It might cut back on production. And unfortunately, that's when unemployment starts to tick up. This whole downturn period, that's what we call a recession.
And then you hit the trough. This is the dead of winter for the economy. It's the absolute bottom of the cycle. Growth might even go negative, demand is super low, unemployment is high, and if this winter's especially harsh and long, that's when you get a depression.
So it's really important to see the peak and the trough not just as phases, but as the actual turning points. They're the moments where the whole roller coaster car lurches, shifting the entire economy from an upward climb to a downward slide, or from the bottom back up again.
And this whole cycle creates a constant balancing act. You see, there's this trade-off. What you want is a good trade. Low unemployment, lots of jobs, even if it means prices are rising a little bit. The bad trade is the opposite, high unemployment, which often comes with falling prices because nobody's buying anything. It's a really delicate dance.
So what's actually pulling the levers on this roller coaster? What causes these seasons to change? Well, it really boils down to 2 types of forces. Internal ones, stuff happening inside the economy, and external ones, which are basically shocks coming from the outside world.
Internally, a huge driver is just psychology. Are we, the consumers, feeling optimistic and ready to spend? Or are we pessimistic and saving every penny? That has a massive effect. And of course, you've got government policies, like taxes and interest rates, that can either hit the gas or pump the brakes.
And then you have these big external shocks that can come out of nowhere and just shake everything up. We're talking about major events like wars, brand new technologies that change everything, or even natural disasters. These can send huge ripples through the entire global system.
Now, this is a really important point to remember. This whole roller coaster ride does not feel the same for everyone. Some industries get a gentle ride, while others get absolutely thrashed around.
So who gets hit the hardest? Usually it's the companies that make big, expensive stuff. Things like heavy machinery for factories, or for us, new cars, new homes, even appliances. It makes sense, right? When money gets tight, what's the first thing you put off buying? It's not groceries, it's that new car.
So, with all these ups and downs, here's the billion-dollar question. Can we see the next turn coming? Well, economists certainly try. They look at special signals, or what they call indicators, to get a hint of what's around the corner.
First, you've got leading indicators. Think of these as the economic weather forecast. They're things that change before the main economy does, giving us clues about where we're headed. The stock market is a classic one. It often falls before a recession actually hits.
On the flip side, you have lagging indicators. These are like looking in the rearview mirror.
They only change after the economy has already started a new trend, so they confirm what's already happened. The unemployment rate is a perfect example. It usually doesn't start getting better until well after a recovery is underway.
And finally, there are coincident indicators. If leading indicators are the forecast and lagging are the rearview mirror, then coincident indicators are the speedometer. They tell you what's happening right now, giving you a real-time snapshot of the economy's health. Think of something like the country's overall GDP.
Okay, so that's a lot of theory, but why should you care about any of this? Because these big, abstract cycles have very, very real consequences for your job, your decisions, and your wallet.
I mean, for businesses, knowing what season we're in helps them plan everything from hiring to launching new products. But for you, it can influence your job security, help you decide when the best time to make a major purchase is, like a house, and it absolutely should inform how you think about your long-term savings and investments.
So, I'll leave you with a final thought to chew on. Based on everything you see around you, what you're reading in the news, the prices you're paying at the store, what you're hearing about the job market, what economic season do you think we're living in right now?